Hey guys, we're going to talk about some DC TV today. Tiffany, what do we got this week?
Okay, so first up, let's just start with The Flash. This episode is Rogue Time. Now we finally get to see Barry dealing with time travel and actually understanding what happened to him.
And it does bring up the big question. They have that big treadmill that they've showed us since the very beginning. Is it the cosmic treadmill from the comics that was introduced in 1961? Because that's how Barry Allen in the comic books traveled through time, was on a giant cool treadmill. But we are seeing the return of some rogues as well.
We've got Heatwave and Captain Cold coming back. And to add to that, at the end of the last episode where we saw them, we got a little glimpse of Captain Cold's sister, Golden Glider, and we're gonna see even more of her in this episode.
It's like we're getting a full rogues gallery for the Flash.
Bringing the family together.
Yeah, also, speaking of families made of zombies, that is, we got iZombie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just excited that we're actually getting into the meat, or the brains.
The brain meat.
Of this show in the second episode, and this one's called Brother, Can You Spare a Brain?
And the second episode is where Blaine DeBeers makes a big impact because we get to learn that he's kind of a different zombie. He's not like Liv.
It's interesting because we saw him in flashbacks. Now we're getting to know him as this zombie character who was a drug dealer, is now possibly dealing something else.
He's quite shady.
Yeah, he's a little shady.
And speaking of shade, you know, like when you put a green hood over your head, you know, and there's darkness on your face, let's talk about Arrow, my favorite show.
This week's episode is called Suicidal Tendencies. We're picking up where we left off last week. Oliver's trying to figure out and deal with the fact that Roz asked him to be the new leader of the League of Assassins.
But then Roz dressed up as Arrow and murdered somebody.
Yeah.
But to me, the more important thing that's gonna happen in this episode is that the return of the Suicide Squad. We have some Deadshot, we have some Cupid in here. We're gonna see Lila again, Harbinger for you comic book fans.
I just love the fact that we're sometimes getting these mini origin stories, and in this one, we're gonna get to know Deadshot a lot better. There were some glimpses of him being kind of the sweet guy. I don't know if I want to necessarily say sweet, but he has a little bit of a heart. And we saw that with him helping Diggle. In this episode, we're gonna get to see a lot more of that. And if you wanna know more about his backstory, there was a mini series that came out in 1988 that tells you a lot about this character.
Yes, and then the Atom shows up to fight the Arrow.
Yeah, we've seen glimpses of the suit, we've seen him fly in it. This is where we get to see it in some serious action.
If they come to blows, who wins?
You know, I always gotta go with Arrow.
Yeah, Ray Palmer, you're smart, but you know, sometimes an arrow just beats all.
We'll see if we're eating our words next week.
Yeah. All right, Tiffany, our bad apple of the week is Blaine DeBeers from iZombie.
Yeah, even in just the first 2 episodes, he's somebody that you're not quite sure what his motives are. You're not quite sure if he's gonna eat a brain, get some compassion, be a nice guy for a second. So I would totally agree. I think he's somebody to keep our eyes on.
Seems like you like our bad apple of the week.
Sometimes I like the bad apples. What can I say?
Tasty.
You can read the Arrow digital comic on readdcentertainment.com for Oliver and Company's adventures between seasons 2 and 3. And for all of your other #DC TV secrets, head over to dccomics.com.